Welcome to another edition of Bear Down with Brian Jeffries. That would be me. The gentleman next door is Dave Rubio, head volleyball coach at the University of Arizona. 28 years, one of the great coaches in women's volleyball across the country, and looking forward to another great season coming up. And Dave, first of all, I want to thank you for joining us, and most importantly, make sure that you and your family, your staff, your players are doing well in this unprecedented time right now.
Well, thanks. It's great to be here, Brian, and it's nice to see someone from the department. We're all here at home, and fortunately enough for me, I'm surrounded by my family. We have my mom, who just recently moved in full-time with us from California, and so it's been great to have her. But kind of the silver lining to all of this is getting an opportunity to spend more time with my family. But it is an unprecedented time, and fortunately enough for us, we're healthy, and everything's been going smoothly for us.
All right, that's great to hear. We've been talking to the various coaches on campus, and for the majority, their seasons were interrupted due to the virus and the cancellation of seasons. Now, yours was not. Volleyball's a fall sport. You get started and finished before the first of the year. It doesn't mean that your team was not affected by this. Of course, schools online, etc. They're off campus and so on. I know you keep in contact with all your players. How have they handled this change in their lifestyle?
Well, the only time we get a chance to talk to them is once a week, and kind of in this format. And, I think superficially they're saying they're doing okay. You just don't know really how they're doing. We have one young lady, Merla, is a transfer from Rutgers, and she's from Germany, and she is on campus or in Tucson full time, and she's doing well. She's managing being all by herself, and we have her up and visit with us once a week. And I think overall it's been okay for them. I think for us, depending on kind of your family situation, I think it's different for everybody.
What would your team normally be doing over the summer in terms of preparing for an upcoming season?
Well, the thing that really hurt us and was a change for us was when we went right into isolation, and that was right after spring break. We left for spring break the first week in March. By the time we were ending spring break, everything was shut down, and we're going to online classes. And that period of time, those 2 months from March to the end of April, are significant training opportunities for us. And that's when we feel like we can close the gap on the upper level teams, because we tend to recruit young ladies who may be a little bit short on aptitude and skills, and we can catch them up during that particular time. So now that we're heading into the summer months, again, there's just a lot of question marks, and probably a lot more questions than answers for us in regards to when we're going to be allowed to be back on campus, when they're going to start working out, and start getting with our strength and conditioning coach. All of those things are still up in the air. The fall season, and like football, I think we're going to end up following whatever model football follows in regards to when we're going to start.
Recruiting, of course, is a year-round activity, and everything is being done in formats like this now. Has it changed at all for you? Or can you look at the positive side of things and say, hey, from my kitchen table, I can now connect with prospective student athletes?
The recruiting, we're so far in front of the recruiting cycle that we're not allowed to speak to the class of players that we are currently recruiting. So they're sending us videos. I think they're the ones who are anxious and stressed out about it, because since we've been in a dead period now for 2 months, we haven't had a chance to go see the class of 2022. And so we're getting, 50 to 60, maybe 100 emails a day from the 2022 class and the 2021 class, but we are finished with the 21 class. So the recruiting on our end really hasn't changed that much, other than the fact that we're not allowed to be out on the road recruiting.
Okay. Well, speaking of recruiting classes, your incoming class rated top 10 in the nation, headed by Ware, a 6'5" freshman who is going to play 2 sports at Arizona, volleyball and women's basketball. That is rare. How many times over your career have you had a 2-sport athlete on your roster?
Well, it is very, very rare. I've had a couple of basketball players, Keisha Johnson, Shannon Torregrossa would be the other two, and their time with both programs was just 1 or 2 years, so it wasn't very long. And then the other one was Heidi Bruschi, who played softball and played volleyball too. So, Lauren is an exceptional player in both sports. She's probably a little bit ahead in terms of the basketball side of it, but she'll be a quick study on the volleyball side. She hasn't played as much high-level volleyball as she has with basketball, but I expect that she'll do just fine when she gets in the program.
Lauren's 6'5", and I know this is one of those probably trite questions, but how important is height in your sport? And is that the most difficult position for you to recruit, getting the tall, talented players?
Getting someone like Lauren is certainly for her just physical attributes is rare for us, for someone who's that athletic and someone who's that kind of size and that height. And she's really exceptional in regards to those things that I think that we rarely recruit, because those kids tend to go to other programs. And so she's unique in that respect for us. So I'm excited about her being a part of the program. And I think that the question that Adi and I are going to need to answer with Lauren will be, if they delay the season at any time and they push it back to, say, we start in October, November, December, like they are talking about, how does that then affect her for volleyball and basketball? And we'll certainly work that out, and Lauren certainly will have a big voice in that as well. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
All right. Everybody's home right now. You mentioned you've been blessed to have your family there and your mom there. What do you guys do for fun when you're not on Zoom?
Well, just being around the family. I have a wonderful group of kids who enjoy being around each other. They have their moments where they're fighting like cats and dogs, but for the most part, they get along really well. And we have a pool in the backyard. So now that it's warming up a little bit, we're in the pool quite a bit. They're riding their bikes around the neighborhood, and there's a lot of games that are being played. So, but they're busy during the week because they're online schooling. So, and I'm busy here every day. After I finish my workout in the morning, I'm doing Zoom meetings as well.
All right. So, have you picked up any new hobbies? And well, let's start out with this. The social media was ablaze with your dance moves with your mom. I'm not going to ask you to repeat it right now, but no one knew. You're talented on the floor. Dancing with the Stars may be calling soon. What was the reaction to that when it got out?
Well, I was hoping you weren't going to bring that up, but since you have, I don't. It's really rare that I get a chance to do any type of dancing. Period. As you get older, you tend not to, go out and go to clubs and do things like that. And but when I was younger, I used to enjoy going out and dancing, and I took a lot of ballroom dance classes when I was going through college, and then when I got to Cal State Bakersfield, I taught some classes. And the quick story is a funny story. My first year here in 1992, we went to Colorado State, and we're getting ready to play. But as we walked in the gym, there was a ballroom dance class there. Now, remember, this is my very first year and with my team, and there was a huge class in the gym there at Colorado State. And so I jumped right in. I started dancing because there tends to be a lot more girls in the class than guys, and they're always looking for guy partners. So if you hear Trina Smith, who was the starting middle blocker for us, who was also a basketball player for Joan at the time, she will say, I couldn't believe that all of a sudden my coach is up there doing swing, doing the ballroom dancing. She was just completely flabbergasted. It was a pretty funny moment.
Well, it was great to see, and I know your mom enjoys it as well. And being around the house has certainly got to be important. What the Pac12 is the most talented conference in the country. Bar none. And so I probably ask you this question every year as you go in, and not to go through every school, but is it still the most difficult part of the grind, the season, when you get into conference play? Has anything changed there?
No, it really hasn't. Well, I take that back. The thing that's happened is that the conference has gotten even more competitive from top to bottom, and there is no there's not a team that you can just feel like you can walk in the door and you're gonna win, regardless of if your team shows up or not. Nowadays, with the way the recruiting has gone and how good the coaches are, and that really kind of separates, in my mind, the conference from other conferences, because the coaches, and the level of coaching that we have, and there's a real kind of a youth movement going on right now with the conference. A lot of really young, talented coaches in the conference. I think Beth Lanier at Utah and myself are the ones who are holding up the geriatric generation, but we are really a talented conference, and it really comes down to recruiting. And just to kind of kind of circle back on the recruiting side, Brian, our class was just ranked 7th in the country, and our class was the highest ranked Pac-12 conference coming in 2020. So we're really excited about our class that's been ranked so highly, and we're excited about the future.
You know, in football and basketball in particular, if you go back 15, 20 years, freshmen were always kind of pushed to the side and red shirt, et cetera. Let's let them grow up into the program. And nowadays, I'll throw baseball in there as well, softball. I mean, you can look at any sport where it seems now that when a student athlete steps on campus as a freshman, the expectations are that they need to be ready to contribute right away. Do you see that in volleyball as well?
Certainly, you know, with the way youth sports are now, and certainly the way that club volleyball has gone, and I'm sure it's true with all the other sports, you know, these guys are competing from the 9th grade all the way through the senior year at really, really high levels. They're traveling the country, playing in these upper level club tournaments, and it's preparing them to come in their first year, their freshman year, and compete at a really high level. So, you know, for us, with the level of player that we're getting, the transition from the club to the college scene isn't nearly as dramatic as it used to be.
Dave, you look great. That temptation to go to the fridge when you're at home, have you managed to stay away from that?
I could use a haircut, that's for sure. But, you know, I'm trying to manage that food intake, the calorie intake. But you know, I work out every morning. And that's one of the benefits too, is that now, you know, you wake up, and especially with the heat coming on, you're getting up early, and whether it's going for a run or getting on the bike or doing some form of exercise. So that's really helped me.
Dave, what keeps you going? Your program is so consistently good. I mean, year in and year out, we know that you're going to compete every match. Is there a key there? Is there some secret to your success?
Nah. You know, I love what I do. You know, it's really, the byproduct for me has always been about winning. It's always been about the kids for me. You know, as the years gone by, the stress levels certainly go up because of how good the conference is and what you need to do every day to be successful and be competitive. But, you know, if I didn't love it and I didn't have a passion for it, then it'd be a little bit different. And, you know, now that I'm turning 61 here in June. So, you know, the time that I have left is much shorter than the time that when I started. So I'm enjoying every moment. I'm fortunate to have great people behind me and a great administration who supports volleyball and supports me. And I've just been really lucky to be here.
Well, I know you have a tremendous fan base as well, and they're hoping to, see you this fall and your team. And we look forward to everybody being back together again on campus. So appreciate your time today, Dave.
Well, thanks. We're excited about the fall season whenever that happens, and however it looks. I think most likely will be an abbreviated season, but you never know at this particular point. You know, at this time, we just want everyone to be healthy and safe, and see if we can get past this, this virus. So with that, it's been a great pleasure to be with you, Brian, as always.
All right, Dave Rubio, head volleyball coach at the University of Arizona. Thanks for joining us. Bear down with Brian Jeffries, and we'll see you again next time.
Thanks, Brian.